Howdy y'all, Stock Warden here, back with another video. In today's video we're going to be covering Archer Aviation Incorporated and how they have done amazing leaps and bounds for the growth of their company and also expanding in their own markets. Now, despite the absolute downturn that the stock has had over the past 2 months, going down pretty much in the 52-week low category, as we can see, since the beginning of this year, then it's safe to say that even though the stock is kind of going still in the bearish trend, that the stock in the company itself should be on an upturn with all of the crazy things that's going on with Archer Aviation right now. So, because just to start off, Archer Aviation, Beta Technologies, and Macquarie Capital, they're partnering to launch America's Consortium for Electric Skyways, with a goal to electrify up to 250 air taxi sites across America's largest airports and metro areas between now and 2030. So that's only just a couple of short years away. So that's definitely showing a lot bringing into that. So then you also have, with Archer being one of the selected participants in the FAA eVTOL Integration Pilot Program, the consortium will end up prioritizing deploying charging infrastructure in markets where Archer plans to operate, positioning the consortium at the center of the White House's push to lead the world in commercializing this next generation of aviation technology. So that is bringing a whole new light and a whole new push into Archer Aviation being able to get into this consortium, because then that brings them deeper into pushing for these air taxis to be at the forefront of transportation. So, but also Archer Aviation is also going to be anchoring this network with its plans when they launch their passenger VTOL air taxi operations in the large major cities, also providing near-term operational certainty across your key metro markets, be it your New York City, your LA, your Houston, and different places like that. So once they end up getting these charging infrastructures put in, and they have all of their planes that are set up for public transport, then they are going to just absolutely take off as a company, and I believe the stock as well whenever it comes to that, because this design is going to end up busting this entire industry wide open for operations. So that, and then also the charging network is going to be able to create a shared infrastructure model where multiple different operators and use cases will be able to run on those chargers. So with Archer accessing the network for passenger air taxi operations during peak operational hours, then you also have other eVTOL companies like Beta's customers will be able to use it for support cargo operations, medical transport, and different types of vehicles that will run on the same charging systems. So that whole infrastructure that's somewhat going through Archer Aviation is going to bring a huge pathway for Archer to continue building just on the infrastructure alone, taking out their eVTOL planes, the air taxis themselves. So then you also have, on another point, Archer and Anduril unveil their autonomous aircraft platform for defense and commercial markets as well. So Archer Aviation and Anduril unveiled a co-developed autonomous aircraft platform on Monday, as aerospace startups have been increasingly tapping partnerships that can lower development costs and speed up their commercialization. So they ended up developing this under a 2024 deal, and it is designed specifically for commercial and major military applications. So Anduril introduced the defense variant called Thunder. And they ended up bringing that out at the Farnborough Air Show. So it's a group of 5 autonomous attack rotorcraft intended to fly alongside current and next generation crewed attack and assault aircraft. So the Archer CEO, Adam Goldstein, ended up making a statement upon this, saying that Anduril has done a very good job of identifying needs and then building ahead of those needs before the programs ever get announced. They identified a need, and we built a very specific aircraft for that need. So when you want to look at a product that can have large-scale use on the defense side, they typically will need to build and design and cater towards that very specific customer and use case. So that is going to be another huge thing for Archer Aviation as well, because not only are they setting up infrastructure for themselves and others, they're also trying to dig deep into the military and commercial aspect of things, which is going to give them an even harder drive and push towards their actual commercialization goal to get people off the ground. But even though with Archer's best known being for them developing those electric air taxis, with them getting ready to unveil this commercial variant and announce their first commercial customers later this week, then it's going to practically, I believe that the stock should just have a direct vertical takeoff, just like their air taxis. But needless to say, as much as I believe how well and how strong that's going to happen, more than likely it's not, because unfortunately, most of the stock market itself across a lot of different sectors, all of the stocks have been in a pretty heavy fall. So, I mean, we're looking almost 20% down on 90% of the stocks that I cover on this channel. And that's something to be said, because most of all the news that I've been getting and all the research that I've been doing, everything has been showing that these companies have been putting out some amazing numbers, great financials, great deals, making more contracts, and yet still the stock continues to go down. But that's also because there's a large determination of that, because the war with Iran has kicked up, and a couple of other things as well that's going on in the world that directly affects the stock market specifically. But back to Archer itself. So with that, of course, US is looking to speed up all of these air taxis and also getting these planes directly into the market as soon as they possibly can. Then you also have something called Archer Halo, which is what the commercial variant for Archer is. And that is what has Anduril's Thunder, which is the defense sector of Archer Aviation. So with that being a huge dual-use platform, then it's going to definitely show and bring in this new aircraft design with also a new powertrain that was re-engineered for manufacturing. So that's definitely something that's going to be pretty awesome to see, as well as they bring out more that's going on with that. And then not only that, but they also have their second quarter 2026 operating update and financial results. Those will be coming out on August 10th. So definitely stay tuned and stick around for whenever that video comes, so then we can dive deep into where their money's been going and what they are continuing to plan on using it on. So we can definitely see how their earnings report stacks. So here currently, over the past physical year, they've been kind of up and down in different areas where they've lost from the estimate, they've beaten the estimate. So nothing completely set in stone, but they definitely have been making waves in the market itself. So even with a 3.6 billion market cap, they are sharing over 37 million on an average volume. So that in itself is pretty good as well and shows that there's a good healthy trade staying within this stock. So it shouldn't be too much for this stock to end up turning a flip. So I'm planning on buying the dip, me personally, because I do still stand behind Archer Aviation. So that, and then also all the different directions that they're going into, that's more than just building the plane. They're building the infrastructure, they're building defense, they're building and partnering with different companies that's also going to get them smarter, faster, stronger, and just all in all, it's just a great company in all the different areas that they're reaching out to and taking a part of the infrastructure instead of just trying to be the first airplane in the air. So with all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So that is everything that I have on Archer Aviation, and I will see y'all in the next video. So this is the Stock Warden, riding off. So y'all come back now, you hear?